Hey everyone, I'm Val Free, the Executive Director of the Neighborhood Network Alliance, and this is the Hey Neighbor podcast. Today we are joined by LaVonte, the Executive Director of Lost Boyz. Welcome, LaVonte.
Hey neighbor.
Hey neighbor.
Good to be here, Val. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. Before we get into this, I want you to talk about Lost Boyz. Give us some history. Who is Lost Boyz? When did it get started? How long you been around? And then we can get into the backstory.
See, Val gonna make me do all this. Val noticed I wanted to hear her beautiful hosting voice just sit over there and pontificate about me. Now I gotta do it myself. Informally, 2008, I founded the organization. On paper, it's 2009. But I was just a Little League coach in our beloved neighborhood of South Shore. And the league I was coaching in folded up and had been around for a few years. So I was keeping the work going. And keeping the work going, I needed to be able to generate donations. And in order to generate donations, as I know, I needed a 501c3.
Yeah.
So I started pursuing creating this organization. Initially, just because I wanted to be able to have somebody else fund the work I was doing. I didn't make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do a lot. So the organization was born as a formal not-for-profit, but that process challenged me to see more than just being a coach, to see it as more than just baseball. So it was a moment for me, more of an epiphany, where I was able to reflect on what sports meant to me in South Shore and how it had contributed to my personal development and my path in life. And so a lot of who I am, what I've done, who I've become, does center on sport, even though it may absolutely have nothing to do with sport. The qualities or the human characteristic needed to carry out those tasks came from and derived itself from sport. So that's kind of the origin. So I started out with a group, and we were in Rosenblum Park, which is in the back of South Shore High School, prior to us having our new international preparatory college, high school, which you were a part of, helped bring into the community. Mm-hmm. I know nobody wanted to be in that park or in that high school back then. So It was like East Side High, right, from the 70s or something.
Yeah.
So just being in that park was a bit of a challenge itself. And so I think we experienced kind of a traumatic incident, guys with guns out and et cetera. And the kids were children, Eddie Reed, I said children, already desensitized. I can't say kid, and somehow he's gonna see and hear this.
Yeah, no, you should never say kid. I'm on that.
I like the word, but we'll save that for another show.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to reflect on my experience as a youth in the neighborhood, which was a confluence of good and bad. It started out good. I'll always tell my history of South Shore and say that it was pretty good up through the 80s. And then the 90s, we really turned a weird corner. Culturally, it was a lot of things happening in Black America, right? In the struggle for freedom and liberty. A lot of self-expression through hip-hop and rap, which art imitates life and life imitates art. And then we saw this changing, like you did, like I did, of our community, where it became, a place of violence. Drugs began to proliferate itself everywhere. We started seeing a lot more disinvestment or intentional disinvestment.
Intentional, let's make it clear.
I won't say more, I'll say we started seeing the intentional disinvestment. And so, all of that was floating in my head all at once with this group of kids, or youth. So I was able to keep it going this way. And it really grew beyond what I thought it would become. And a lot of people will say, well, you're living your dream, are you loving it? And I honestly tell people this was not my dream. I didn't dream of starting a nonprofit, working with youth, being a baseball coach.
I understand.
My dream was to be a congressman. That's what I wanted to be.
Really?
Yeah. Went off to college, tried political science, and I was like, I don't like learning about dead old white men, so I'm going to try something different.
Talk about what Lost Boyz is now and where you see it going. What kind of impact it has in South Shore right now as well. I want to talk about that, and then we're going to circle back around, when you grew up in South Shore and all of that, and we can have the conversation about Rosenblum Park.
Yes. So I guess the best way to kind of describe it for everyone is to visualize Lost Boyz as a little machine, a little personal development incubator that's centered on sport, and that's really capturing, again, the characteristics, the different value sets that you pull from sport and the things that you learn in sport, and then we tie it to other developmental areas of life. So the programming is centered on that. So not only are they developing physical health and physical fitness and wellness, they're also focused on culture, and the culture of their own neighborhood first, and then culture outside of themselves. First, learning self, where you're from, our skin, what's that history like, what does that mean, what does that culture mean, and then being exposed to civic things, exposing them to other recreational activities. It got so busy, we started focusing on so many different things that we had to start putting the work into clubs to encapsulate everything that we were trying to do. Try not to get captured and centered on just being about baseball and fast pitch softball for our girls, because we do have lost girls too. That happened about 10 to 12 years into having young women in our program now, which I'm actually really proud of, right? Most young black men were raised in matriarchal households. And so I was raised by a lot of women as well. There were plenty of men present. My father was home, all that good stuff. But the strength and our centering and developing ourselves as black men has always come from the bosom of black women. So I'm really happy that even at Lost Boyz, it is 70% women make up the staff. Probably more than that in leadership, more than 70%. So Lost Boyz, ironically, is a black women ran organization now. So let's not get it twisted. Yes.
Hey, I don't have any quorums with it.
I know. So I got to throw that out now so I can I got Val smiling. Y'all see that? So yeah, that's who we are, Val. And I think what makes it so effective, the clinch pin, as they say, that keeps it all together, is very similar to what NNA espouses, right? Is about this collective work and plugging in with everybody. And that's what makes Lost Boyz go. We could be okay by ourselves, but it'll be a little boring if we didn't have NNA to come and partner with. We've had youth partner with you to do all types of stuff. One of my favorite projects was the mapping, where we sent them out in the community. And you did like address mapping, and there was some other information you were pulling in.
The housing data survey.
Exactly. So it's very critical data, and you involved our young people in that process, so it made it relevant to them why this type of stuff is important, because our music isn't going to tell them that it's important. The movies, all of this stuff is distractions and entertainment, and it's not giving value. So the real value is coming from folks like yourself and organizations that's pouring into them. So the partnerships are what really drive us. And so being able to partner with South Monroe Community Garden, Diane and Natalie, and to get the youth out into the garden and support their work, right? Because our presence there helps send a message to the community that this is a safe space, and the community is embracing it, and we ain't thinking about what y'all talking about. We taking it back.
Exactly.
So, big shout out to Diane and her crew for how they stand up straight and take that back, and they ain't scared of nothing, nobody. So, when you see that, you got to support it. As a man, I'm I got to get behind it.
That's like Diane, I look at Diane and that crew is like in a good way, the old lady gang.
Yes.
Because they don't take no excuses for why their block should be the best block in South Shore, and they partner with you and partner with us as well. But I do like our partnership when we have activities and we all show up together, and when we need youth, because I like the way that South Shore has organizations that have a clear focus on what they focus on. So when we say, hey, we're doing a block party or something like that, and you all show up, or even with the housing data survey, I'm glad to hear that had an impact on your youth or your children. I'm glad to hear that, because I didn't know until now.
That's just Eddie Reed's rule. I'm gonna make sure he watches this.
But I don't like the word kids neither. It has a whole nother meaning to it, and we have to evolve.
We do.
But so let's talk about when I first met you, you was working for the Black United Fund of Illinois.
Oh, you over there reading my mind? Okay, keep going.
And I had just started out organizing,
Yes.
and I was just trying to figure it out. You know, I had a base, but when the Black United Fund stepped in, it just like scaled up to something different. But you were working there, and as we were developing, we were looking at partnership at that time as well.
Well, we had done work together already.
Yeah.
You came down. We were doing community outreach on the ground under David Robinson's leadership, Dr. Alice Palmer's son, who was also a mentee of Mr. English. And so that's what I was going to say. I said you read my mind. Just sitting at the table, you know, of course, with you is an honor in itself, because a lot of us, when you look at the OGs of the community, as I call them, some moved in, came around, some kind of been there for a while. And the difference is the ones that have been there for a while, we've all been mentored by Mr. English and Dr. Conrad Worrell and Bob Starks and Alice Palmer, Buzz Palmer. You know, we can go down the list, the old guard
leadership of South
people.
Shore.
And so we're different, right? Like that song says. And so I think that, you know, that is absolute descriptive tag of who we are as being South Shore Strong, that little saying.
As Lost Boyz has evolving, and it is the go-to organization for youth in South Shore among the organizations that we all work with. How are you feeling about that?
I feel good where I'm at in my space, in our space. I feel more valued by the community.
Especially since you didn't really get into the politics like you wanted to. Not that you didn't get in politics, but like you wanted to.
And, you know, that's part of my own self-consciousness dealing with, you know, I'm not a recognition seeker. But I do believe that you should give people their flowers while they're here. I'm a strong believer in that because I believe in energy and human beings and the sharing of energy. And I feel like, you know, when we got it, we got to share it, right? And help one another and lift each other with that energy. And so pouring into each other to say just something simple as, hey, I see you, right? And simple as your slogan, hey, neighbor. Little things like that power people, and they feel justified in the work, and you feel like you've made the right sacrifices, because make no mistake about it, nonprofit leaders make some of the greatest sacrifice in the American labor force, and that's just not talked about. We give a credit to the teachers, but we're doing a lot of what they do too, and whether it's not with children and it's in adults and all of the stuff that we do. So just, you know, now kind of having that respect in my own neighborhood is like, okay, I appreciate it, but what took y'all so long? And I'm looking at it, you know, same way on the city level. On the state level, we got the DNC coming. I'm ready to put the Democrats' feet to the fire. I ain't gonna get political here, but
let's not get political,
you know,
even though there's some political stuff to talk about.
Absolutely, because it impacts us and impacts us on a daily basis. But yeah, I'm feeling really, really good. Looking at how I can continue to evolve the services of Lost Boyz without getting into mission creep, and just finding ways to address more needs or issues.
I think it's a way to do it. I think you can put youth in everything. And because at the end of the day, they're humans. So I don't think it would be mission. I don't know what your mission is. What's your mission?
Well, oh, look at that. You put me on the spot. We got to change the mission statement too. I got to get the formal thing. But the informal is to provide opportunities for youth that are around economic wellness, physical and mental wellness, and emotional wellness. That's the simplest way to put it, and preventing the influences of violence in their lives. Now, there's a very technical mission statement that speaks exactly to it, but that's the gist of it, right?
I think whatever you're trying to do, it could cover
sports, hook them, teach them how to harness that anger, that energy, so that they don't come into a path of violence, or, you know, we reduce risk factors, increase protective factors, open up opportunities in the labor force. And so right now we've centered a lot of that work on work back in sport and letting them know that, hey, everybody's not going to go pro. In fact, at Lost Boyz, nobody is thinking about going pro. We just don't have that caliber of talent. We're just out there having fun. But if they get serious, you know, I have plenty of connections, and we can point them into the right places when we know that their skills are very elite. when that does come along. But otherwise, it's just exposing them to the opportunities. So it's kind of led into a great process over, really the last decade, because we were able to build on the success with the adolescents and then figure out once they got to a certain age, I'm like, okay, what do we do with them now? So we created our teen program, and which exposed them to workforce development, teaching them how to work, getting them ready for work, post-secondary education. Are you going to college? Are you going to trade school? You got to do something after school. What are you going to do? Figure it out. There are options. But I'm always going to be a staunch supporter of post-education. Getting into entrepreneurship and trying to be real about it. Unfortunately, there's a lot of things that we talk about that are great ideas in the Black community, but we're not having real conversations. They're not rooted in realism. One, everybody's not going to be an entrepreneur. So should we be peddling that to all of our young people? I'm not saying we shouldn't expose them, right, Val? But that's a good question. What's the reality of all of them being? That's just like the reality of all of them being a pro athlete, almost. So I'm interested in it, in a sense and in a way where we have and identify young people who really have potential for it. So we have been launching these youth-owned micro enterprises, or what I call them.
Love it.
Yeah. So the very first one is now 3 years old, and that's Shy Girls Enterprises LLC. They're a concessionaire company owned by 6 young women from South Shore. 2 of them are my daughters. They do business as Hot Girls Grill in South Shore, and we're hoping to bring the concession. It's a mobile concession stand, so we're hoping to bring it from 95th and Abbott to Rosenblum Park. So we're negotiating now with UCG and the Chicago Park District.
I thought they were at Rainbow.
Well, we had Rainbow first. Then UCG offered us a different contract with Abbott Park, because eventually I think what they wanted to do was bring a different vendor there, and so like Norm is coming this summer,
right?
Norm's Bistro. So at first I was upset with Mayor Lightfoot. I'm like, why are we getting kicked out of Rainbow? I was about to raise holy hell, and I didn't. I accepted because it came coupled with her alfresco dining program, which ended up awarding us a $50,000 grant, which allowed us the company to help purchase that container restaurant, custom maker. Okay. So that was really good for Mayor Lightfoot, and we were able to use that. So Norm took over Rainbow, and he's going to be doing it this summer. So everybody come out to Rainbow Beach, Norm's Bistro from Norm is at 43rd?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he bringing some of that Bronzeville flavor to South Shore, and I know he'll spin it and give it our touch. And so I think Norm would do a much better job than we had done in Rainbow. We did okay. It was all right.
But why isn't enough room for 2?
Well, because of the physical infrastructure, I think, with that one. Now, yes, you could have dropped a container restaurant there, Val, but the container restaurant wasn't even in the picture initially. That happened after Mayor Lightfoot freed up money during COVID and it was this drive to outdoor dining. So that made natural sense to shift public money, right, into grants that would kickstart people coming back out and spending money and eating outside, given the parameters and constraints.
What about 63rd Street Beach? There's nothing there except for that little one
No,
restaurant.
So Reggie's got a contract there in the past couple of years, and someone is supposed to build a new deck. And so, I mean, there's more people applying for this stuff and trying to get out and get it.
I think that you all could get there. Because I don't know the ins and outs, but I'm just saying 63rd Street Beach is a good spot.
It is.
It's always crowded. Everybody's not going to Reggie's.
And see, that's the part
they're all hungry.
And that's the part about the realism, though. Like, so looking at so we had 3 years of performance data. And it was not impressive. The first year was okay. We made a couple of $1,000s, not much of a lot to write home about, not enough to pay salaries. The second year, we got the container restaurant, went to Abbott Park. We made probably even less because most of our customers were the CTA drivers. We were positioned along next to the red line.
Yeah.
We thought it was an optimal spot, though, right, because of the amount of passerbys coming through the red line. And I think part of it was our positioning in the park. We were located behind the basketball courts. We were kind of visible, kind of funny to get to us. So anyways, it wasn't our neighborhood. We didn't do as well as we thought we'd do. And in the third year, we just didn't do anything. We didn't even open the door. So we actually lost the contract. So we fought, and not even fought because there was no fight. We positioned ourselves and were come on, give us another chance. So right now, I'm 90% sure we're going to get a 4th year, and it's going to happen at Rosenblum Park. So that is what we've put on the table for negotiations and said, give us one more chance. these are young people. Give them an opportunity. They didn't screw up all 3 years. It was 1 year.
Yeah.
That they
I
had.
think 63rd Street is.
I think it would be too much for them. That's the problem.
The capacity?
Yeah, and the demand, and they need it. It's got to be just right because of their age and lack of experience.
Okay.
They're going in the right direction. Their prior experience comes
there.
from running the Chicago Bears stand. We have a partnership with Chicago Bears, and so we've been doing a concession stand under the fundraising program for like a decade.
That's wonderful.
So they learned the initial skill set there, which is why they chose a concessionaire company. So what happens is the young people over 4 years, they are in a cohort and they move up just like in high school each year. The level of what they're getting from us in the program advances each year, just like in school. So it's hard to match school. And so the last year, the focus is entrepreneurship. The real focus is narrowing in on entrepreneurship, but they will have been working on a business idea for almost 4 years.
Oh, I didn't realize
But by
that.
the fourth year, they really pick the idea that they want. So they'll learn at watching other businesses and learning concepts in the first 3 years. And then by the fourth year, it's like, okay, what do we want to do as a group? What do we want to launch? So right now you got the concession company. We have the clothing company. So all the stuff you see me wearing, that's Lost Boyz. That's youth owned. And they do business with our production company is in Pakistan. So eventually we'll do some American side business, but right now they went global. They're doing international business.
I mean, these are you doing what they have to do.
And so I think those are the two, right? And we got a third coming out.
Okay.
And I think they're targeting like an entertainment company, like the inflatables and tables, chairs. When people have outdoor events.
When they're doing that?
They are starting to put it together now. I mean, we got a couple of ideas to play with.
They might not be ready this summer, but for next summer, I'm definitely interested in that.
Right.
So let's talk about South Shore.
Yes.
What do you really love about living in South Shore and your nonprofit in South Shore?
The lake and the lake.
The lake and the lake. Okay.
I mean, who doesn't love to live by water?
Well, do your youth consider South Shore a great place to live? Are you preparing them to say this is where Black Mecca should be? This is the only Black neighborhood on the lake in the country? Getting their minds into thinking like this is where we should be investing. This is where all of us should come together with an investment club so we can buy, and stay. Because that's what this Hey Neighbor is all about.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, Val. And you've been with us. I'm always promoting that, talking that. I think part of the problem for me, or part of the frustration, is again back into that realist conversation. It's about the bandwidth or the capacity of our young people to embrace that stuff that we're trying to give them. And I know I'm becoming an old man because I fuss about it a lot now. And I always tell them,
to hear it.
I always tell them, I wish we had this many people back in the day when I was your age trying to do a lot of these things that the organizations are trying to do with you. So I really can't recall that. I mean, growing up, we all played baseball, South Shore Little League, boys, girls. CYC on Phillips was always there, Chicago Youth Center, Rebecca K. Crown Center, and we all loved Jerry Torrey. Rest in peace, Jerry Torrey. Everybody loved Mr. Jerry. Anybody under 50 that came over there to that center on 76 and Phillips knew Mr. Jerry. We had the Boy Scouts at Our Lady of Peace, which I was a part of because I went to Our Lady of Peace, the school and the church. And I can't recall ton more of organizations. Right, but there were activities for us to do. There were things rooted in the Park District, just like there are now. But the nonprofit scene wasn't as big.
It's big.
And you and I, we've both seen it grow and then deflate a little bit, which is what I've been beating the drum about in South Shore right now and telling all of the leadership that, hey, we need to pay attention. I think our capacity is shrinking.
It is.
In terms of our effect and the number of nonprofits and the range of services that we're providing to our residents. So I think as leaders, we should be helping to encourage more growth again, like we've done in the past. Like, for example, real quick example, there's a young woman named Ashley Smith, so I'm working with her to develop a nonprofit, and it will be serving South Shore in addition to probably a couple of other communities. And it's, oh my God, Ashley, I'm going to get the name of your...
What did she do?
So she's into skincare and health, and this is her professional expertise. And she has her own business, right? And she does all of this stuff and produces product. And so she wanted to righteous care growth.
Okay.
I think that's it. RCG or RGC, Righteous Growth Care. One of the two.
And does she wants that to be a nonprofit?
It is. So she's made her nonprofit foundation, which is based off of her company, Righteous Hair Growth or whatever product.
Okay.
And so I forgot how she found me, but I've been working with her for a few weeks to start developing stuff and doing the basic stuff. Hey, where's your bylaws? Hey, here's how you go fill out the 1023. Go get your EIN. Go do this. Go do that. Mm-hmm. And so she held her first workshop, and we hosted it at the TAC office, which we shared with the chamber.
Nice.
And she had 2 young women that showed up, and it was amazing. You know, they had their white lab coats on. They actually dealt with the chemicals. They had the microscopes. They made the product. They packaged the product. They documented the process of doing that. So these young women, and she had put together a nice curriculum, this manual, she's following it. So it was just inspiring to see her work. I mean, I think for a moment I got to feel like some of our mentors, especially the ones not with us. And I said, man, this is probably how they felt working with us, watching the excitement in us, Val, as we both went to Henry and learned these different things, and we learned hard lessons sometimes, right? And we were kind of beat up from what happened, and we were able to go back to him, know I have a shoulder to cry on. That was another good thing about him, and Teresa and some of the other folks around. And I'm like, I just feel like we're kind of, in a way, we should be doing it for the next wave of folks. So that's where I'm personally starting to find myself at, is helping the next set of entrepreneurs. I don't feel like I'm mentoring anyone. I feel like I'm still trying to learn. Fun, just thinking of that. I remember when I first met Mr. English, and he, when I first started coming around, we were cool, and then he gave me some money to start organizing, but he didn't realize like my organizing was different from everybody else's, right? So he was to make these little smart remarks behind my back on she ain't no organizer. He would say somebody else was, and she doing a better job, right? And so then when the grocery store left South Shore, he wasn't really too fond of the idea of us having a town hall. We had gotten to it about it. He said, oh, that's the chamber's job. I was like, the chamber ain't doing it. So we got to do something. These people calling me, and the chamber don't have an answer. So anyway, he didn't come to the meeting. It was a snowstorm in December. It was already 6 inches of snow and still snowing. And we had over 200 people show up. So he called me that night because, again, he didn't really think I was like out there really doing what I was doing. He says, it's 10 o'clock at night. I wasn't expecting a call from him at 10. So I answered and was like, I guess he getting ready to say something smart now too, huh? So I pick up the phone. I'm ready. I said, hello? He said, I guess I got me an organizer. But I haven't felt like I'm mentoring anyone, to be honest with you. So I'm happy that you feel in that way. But I wanted to share that story because it was triggering as you were. But I think with mine too, it just, part of it is personal. It just go back to who I am, what I want to be doing. I'm the son of a teacher, so it's my second nature. Like I'm
daughter of 2 of them.
I'm gonna say the profanity.
What's the problem?
I'm gonna say the profanity. Doug gotta have a little bleep. You got the bleep box, Doug.
So I don't understand. Like I actually should be, but it's not even that I don't want to. It just hasn't come.
I think you will, right, when you get to the place where you feel you want to be and where you want NNA to be. And I think for me,
I don't feel like
might
NNA
be kind of the difference. Like Lost Boyz is getting to where I want it to be. We're not quite there yet, because when we're there, I'll know, because I'll be able to just walk away as the executive director and become a board member and move on to the next phase of life and my career and whatever that's gonna be.
Yeah. Now I've worked with many young people, and some of them went off into government and got political positions and doing their thing. But I take you seriously. I've done that too, but I don't feel like I'm having proud moments, even though some of them are very successful. And they will say because they work with me or whatever, but sometimes people use that just to open up doors, you know what I mean? But
I think you are one, because I'm watching as you just continue to crank out phenomenal work and watching the evolution and growth of NNA just
from the door knocking to the window. So
I mean, to the space that we're in now. I literally thought I was just gonna jump on a little Zoom or something, and then I come in and you got this beautiful space and set up, and I'm excited to watch this once it comes out.
I'm glad.
So I think we all do it. You do it, cause when I talk to people and eyes are all bright. I'm with the NNA. I'm with Val. And so there's just certain things about him I could tell if you've probably been spending some time with him, teaching some stuff, because I know you too well. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, that's a Val-ish type of move or skill, right? Because we rub off on people. So with my folks directly that I work with inside, like Joe McAllister. I'm really proud of Joe, one of my young staff who's come along. Firebrand, I got Loretta Holmes, has been amazing. Jalen is one of my almost original Lost Boys, so he's now a program coordinator. And man, I chased that kid all around Chicago doing stuff, getting in trouble. So it's amazing to have him back focused, be able to teach the young people, and he's still, got his ways, so he's funny. But that process of mentoring them and refining them and improving what they're doing and how we're doing it. Because I think that is going to make us a little bit different from our mentors. No knock on our mentors, but a lot of them don't. The irony of Henry's favorite event of the year, of Buffy, Black United Fund's favorite event, was passing the torch.
Yeah.
But most of that generation of leadership don't like to pass it. They want to clutch it all the way into the grave.
Don't get me started.
You should never be dying on your
or dead
elected seat or whatever we shouldn't have to push you out of leadership.
Exactly.
Roll you out of leadership. You should gracefully be preparing the next set of leaders. So you can transition out so that there's symmetry and connection. Or mentor something
that you already see coming up.
Right. But not try to control it. I think that's the balance of it, right? Is how do you get involved? How do you kind of set up this succession, pick the right people to be in the right places to succeed the work that people have done? But how do you do it without doing it with a bias, right? How do you set that up so that everybody's happy that it is a democratic process of how this new leadership has been installed and put in place? And I think, for example, we see some of that playing out right now, like in Dalton. Changes in leadership and crazy stuff.
I think change. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about Dalton. I might get stoned. But I definitely believe that it's a new leadership style and new leadership issue for Dalton. But, with Mr. English, for me, before he started passing, he started, sharing with me. Before he started passing, let's back up. Before he passed, he started sharing I want you to be in these rooms and stuff like that. So I had that with him,
right?
And he didn't know me, I wasn't in the black bourgeois circle of South Shore.
Yeah, me neither. It was a couple of us that he just took that chance on, but neither was he. He was actually awkward in that black bourgeois circle if you watch him. Okay. I mean, he knew how to navigate it, but he was in there with Buster Brown's on and everybody else had on.
Yeah. So I think for me, the mentorship, if I get a new mentor, that'd be great. I do have people I can pick their brain on.
Yeah.
But actually a Henry English type of thing, no. But let's go back to just why you choose to stay in South Shore when you can go someplace else with what you have? I know you have another program someplace else, but South Shore is home.
Yeah, well, you just said it. It's home. It's roots. It's where my parents bought their first home. So we lived a little while in neighboring Chatham, and then my dad was able to find a nice house on 77th and Oglesby at that time in the early 80s.
The Berlin East area.
And he was able to make a reasonable purchase, put a little money into it, fix it up. And we love the block. Quiet, a lot of families, and all of those friends are still my friends to this day. Wow. I've celebrated baby shower the other day of one of the young people I call my nephews and nieces, which are my friends' children, right? So you know how we are, black folk, everybody family. So these are my little nephews and nieces. But my own family is 300 plus members come from the South Shore community. So we have long-standing deep roots. I mean, I was hanging out on Luella back when Taurus Flavors was there.
Oh, I remember Taurus Flavors.
I see, exactly. My one of my cousins, the father of her children, we called him Chicken George. That was his nickname. But Dennis worked at Taurus Flavors. So I have all these fond memories because my family was so big, and that was one of the reasons my parents bought the house in the neighborhood. My grandmother bought her home on 79th and Colfax. My great-grandmother, they had them all in a building on 67th and Stony, a building that no longer exists, or something, 67th, 63rd. So South Shore had been home to my entire family after my grandparents were able to, and great-grandparents, able to get everybody out of like the Robert Taylor homes and the different projects from coming up from the Great Migration, right? Because that's how my family got here, like many other families that got here, landed down there in the, as we call it, the low end or Bronzeville section, and then eventually when they got the opportunity to fan out further south and east, which took a while with South Shore, right? We looking at the late 60s. They were able to, well, by this time, 80s, my parents were able to buy their home and secure their home. I had a grandmother living around the corner. I had aunties, uncles. And so then the multiplier effect, all those cousins. So we were deep. Like, you didn't want to have a fight with us. You didn't want to fight with the Stewart, Chamber, Harris family because we was coming like 50 deep.
Really?
Yeah. So I never wanted to leave South Shore. And like I said, it's just a lovely community. I mean, who can forget about growing up at Rainbow Beach, like you said, going to Bongo Beach on 63rd, or being at the country club, because the originals, don't call it Cultural Center, call it the Country Club, Henry and Carol and a bunch of others, Conrad and them fought for and saved that space for us, and I'm really grateful now because we're able to pass that on, that space, to our children, which are now enjoying that. So
which is why your children, we got to find ways to get them to see the investment, the picture, why as they get older, they got to live here.
Right.
We got to figure out what that challenge is. And I think it might be, part of it might be, we got to get them involved on a hyper-local level. Like, you asked me to come to your organization to do a presentation. I'm definitely going to do it this month, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely. You're always welcome. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey. So, yeah, but I would like to go ahead and do that. But at the same time, while we are talking about, like, that, the youth and all of that, talk about how you, in general, see yourself when you retire in South Shore, just enjoying that lake.
Well, yeah. I'm not going to be one that retires and runs south. I'm not moving to Florida. I'm not moving anywhere. My children are always, my son insists, because he's graduating from De La Salle tomorrow, so shout out to Manny, LaVonte Jr. But he says, hey, after college, I'm moving and I'm going to such and such and I'm buying a big old house and you coming with me. I keep forgetting what city he keeps saying he's moving to. And he like, you coming with me? And I said, no, I'm not. I said, enjoy it. I'll come visit, but I'm going to have my place. You're going to have yours. I'll come and visit you and your family. He said, no, you're going to live with us. I said, no, man, only way that's going to happen is I literally can't take care of myself anymore. And then you got to move me in. All right, I'm cool with that. Don't put me in a senior home. Fine. But other than that, I am not going nowhere. I'm 48. I don't own anything in South Shore. I still want to, so that's still one of my ultimate goals.
Yeah, same here.
I think it has changed for black people. The American dream is different, and the house with the white picket fence is not the same dream for modern black Americans anymore, because I think our generations have seen it, and we don't necessarily see the same good in it. Some of us watched our parents struggle to pay for them houses and then lose value after the bubble, after the tech bubble, and after this bubble, and after that. And so we don't necessarily see the same benefits in terms of wealth creation and generational wealth passing as non-black folk. So for me, that's still a personal goal, is I got to own something like a building. Not because I'm trying to make a ton of money. I just want to own something in the place that I live and that I love.
You should.
I like bossing up. I like having some juice in the neighborhood. I want more. But I think power and influence, I see it differently than other people. It should only be in the hands of people who are going to take care of people with it and not just enrich and benefit themselves. And I think that's what everybody know about me. Like, your boy ain't even bought a pair of new gym shoes in a year. I don't get to enjoy my own wealth.
I mean, that's not even just South Shore, but we know that there's a thing called nonprofit hustle.
Yeah, which we don't talk about a lot.
We don't talk about a lot.
It's hard to.
And we don't hold people accountable for hustling nonprofits.
Yeah, it's hard to. I mean, again, that's, man, we're going to always end up talking about black this, black that, but
that's not even a black thing. And it didn't even start with black people. Because white people make more money off of our stuff, the things that we lack, need, and crimes and stuff through the world and nonprofit than we do. But what we do participate in that too is just not on the same level.
Yeah, I mean, if you isolated and examine violence alone, it's millions of dollars that's coming out in different forms, shapes, and sizes into the nonprofit sector for us to do the work that we do. But the billions of dollars that are made off violence at the higher levels,
it's not us.
The military-industrial complex. I was reading articles lately about Haiti because I was like, hey, it got quiet in Haiti. Well, at least I thought it got quiet. I'm like, I ain't heard much because maybe we focused on Israel and Palestine, or we focused on college protests. And so we always switch and focus on different topics. And so I'm like, well, what happened with Haiti and the gangs and them running the president up out of there and da-da-da-da. So as I'm reading through articles, I'm reading an article where they're saying like 80% of the weapons that are still streaming into Haiti right now to fuel the ongoing chaos is coming from America. It's American-made and manufactured weapons. So that's not by accident that they're flooding this black country, this country is controlled forever, and flooding them with weapons. So somebody's making money off that violence. I forgot what the guy called himself, Barbecue Rib, whatever he was, the gang leader that
Barbecue Rib.
He had some kind of nickname like that, Barbecue Rib or something. It was something.
Oh my God.
And so, but just reading about how they're trying to stabilize their country and select their new leadership, and so and make no mistake about it, I think we underplay Haiti and its value in the black diaspora.
Underplayed. Even in this migrant issue, it's
I mean, it is the only predominantly black country that ever freed itself from enslavement.
Right.
So, I mean, it should probably be the blackest, dopest country on the planet instead of the brokest
and
dysfunctional country on the planet. So I don't know how I wandered off all into that, but
it's okay.
My point was we're talking about the hustle and the nonprofit hustle, and So when it comes, I know it's all type of people doing the hustle, but I have less tolerance for black people doing it.
I do too, because we are the ones that need the services the most at the highest quality.
Right. And then I think we have a conundrum because of sometimes, like you said, to the point of accountability and transparency, we have sometimes this upside down concepts in our culture of loyalty, connection, commitment, and for right reasons. I get the right reasons why.
I'm starting to roll my eyes over.
Yeah, but I think that's one of them when it comes to the nonprofit hustle. Is it goes back to that no snitching rule. We talk about the streets, man. That no snitching rule stuff permeates a lot of black life, and so I think a lot of people don't want to get in it because they like, man, it ain't my business. I don't want to be the one to tell on them, and then they mad at me and upset with me. Now they want to fight with me because I messed up their good thing.
Yeah,
but
Yeah, it's not helping us though. That's the issue.
No.
But you know, I would like to see Lost Boys youth in everything. Like housing, economic development, health and wellness. Like they just got youth in all of those things and they're leading it. They lead in the blocks. They're leading all of that stuff. And they own South Shore.
Right.
Like what would a plan like that look like? What you think a plan like that would look like?
That would, Val, oh man, would that be amazing?
Because that would definitely be the next generation of leaders.
Yeah. And again, I feel like we're in a position to actually put them in that position, right? Mm-hmm. And we might not, we doing okay for ourselves, and of course we'd love to be able to have and control and do more.
Shoot, Lost Boys is expanding.
I think we can equip, given what we all have, me, you, and everybody around us, mm-hmm. we've got enough to build. And that's one thing I learned, just watching this stuff, watching sports and their mentors, athletes and their mentors, watching business people and their mentors. Anybody, what I've seen that is a commonality in mentorship is the mentor may have less but can lead the mentee into a place where they have surplus and more. And that's the whole point of it is, let me show you how to do this even better. So if I made $1 million doing whatever I did over a lifetime, you go make 10 million. Because if you don't make 10 million, then I wasn't much of a teacher.
That part.
If you can't double and outdo what I did,
right.
then what was I really
doing?
Teaching you, right? What was the point? So I think we can. I think another one of the issues that we have to talk about is where is the motivation, resilience, and drive in young people. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of young black people who are all of those things. Mm-hmm. Resilient, driven, committed. Amazing things are happening just in my family alone. I've 3-4 college graduations this year. Chicago State, Grambling. They're all over the place, my cousins. So I'm really proud of what family is doing, in that aspect. But what I see every day, even at my own children sometimes, and the youth that I work with, is a lack of that sometimes, a lack of the resilience, the commitment to the stuff, and it's so in their face that you have these opportunities, and that's what I'm saying. Like, we didn't have these opportunities. Nobody came to us and said, hey, you want to make your own business? Because we was some hustling I'm the boys in the hood generation. We was some real hustlers.
We was like that too, and I was a girl.
Boys and girls, everybody could hustle. We were a hustling generation.
Yeah.
And so I don't see that hustle necessarily as a whole in this generation. The last couple of generations.
No, I don't. I mean,
more entitled, more like everything's got to come to them.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking the young people for those who are going to listen to this, and y'all.
No, it is.
Y'all want to debate? We can talk about it, young people.
Yeah, because when we were children, my sister and I, because we grew up in South Shore too. It's snow outside. We didn't have snow shovels, but do you have a snow shovel? We'll shovel your snow.
Right.
You know what
we carry old people groceries from the grocery store for 25 cents.
That's how I ended up actually getting into organizing. There were some young boys who were known for breaking into homes and nobody wanted to tell on them. Mm. And every time I would see them, they would ask me for money.
Right.
So one day, it's like a lot of snow outside. They come up to me and ask me for money, and I'm trying to get my car. Oh no! So you know what I did?
Shovel my snow and I give you some money.
I said, shovel my snow and I give you some money. We don't have a shovel. I said, so if I bought you a shovel, would you use it to make money? One said yes, and the other one said no. So the one that said yes, I went and got him a shovel, some gloves, because I can tell that he wasn't well taken care of.
Right.
Some gloves, some salt, some antifreeze. He had the works.
Right.
And he used it. You know what I mean?
Money.
And he made some money. Well, the other one,
Yeah, and I attribute a lot of that to the technological developments part of it. It's so many things we could probably talk about that contributes to it, but they're more of an instantaneous generation. We probably figured that out.
Yeah.
The microwave came out when we were kids.
Yeah.
And like, oh, okay, you can fix your food real quick, 2 minutes.
Seconds.
Right. So, and that is continued,
Yeah.
and is continued rapidly now, right? The development in technology, because I'm an old computer scientist. It happens even more rapid now. Each iteration of technology. Now we're at AI. It's going to happen even faster.
Woo.
I ain't touched it yet.
Yeah.
Because we going someplace.
Don't mess with AI.
We about to go someplace.
Because the AI ain't nothing nice.
So, and look at that.
We need to figure out how to get the youth to understand how to outsmart AI.
Well, I don't
because
know.
they're the jobs. Technology is the place to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because I just heard where someone talked about they replaced their lawyer using AI.
No, I was about to say it may reduce costs for businesses and create efficiencies in a lot of ways, man. Because
I wish they could make
like with young people, I know, and I know professors. I know professors have other software to check stuff, but I was sitting with a young person the other day, and and it just blew my mind. They like, oh, I need to do this paper for class, and da 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 da, and they opened up the AI GP chat thing, and they're like, yeah, write me a paper about Napoleon Bonaparte and da 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 da.
But don't they have to? I think some
and
then
it spits out like a 20-page research paper in like 10 seconds.
But
and I'm like, okay, forget encyclopedias, forget the library,
But there's a thing called plagiarism.
Google. No. That's why I say they have software now at the colleges probably that can even tell if the entire paper is AI generated or not. So they would still have to go in there and modify. But my point is the amount of effort they have to put into it is lessening with the development of technology. Right. Our human effort decreases as technology
so what you're saying
increases.
Is they don't understand putting in the work.
Right.
And they don't understand the reward of the...
Right. And that's how you outsmart the tech. And that's where we're going to lose it if they don't get that point, is that I got to outwork the tech.
Yeah.
Because the tech works fast, it works efficient, it works with way less error. Ooh. That's the point of tech, is to remove human error and speed up time of what you're trying to do. That's it. But it's all our knowledge. It's not nothing. It's not new knowledge that we don't have. It's not alien knowledge. Yeah. It's all human knowledge, neatly compacted in using mathematics to eliminate error.
I think I just rather eat some mushrooms.
So we're living in sometimes we wonder if the Matrix was real.
Yeah.
Pinch myself, red pill, blue pill.
I think we're going to wrap up.
I had fun.
I'm glad you came.
I could talk to you all day.
I know. And we could talk about a lot of stuff that we can't talk about on this podcast.
I know, I'm going to call you this weekend.
But, LaVonte, thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Val.
This is LaVonte Stewart of Lost Boyz in Chicago and Lost Girls sports team, youth sports team. Thank you. So we're going to say, hey, bye, neighbors. Bye, neighbors.
Bye, neighbors.